Welcome to the second podcast. We're down in Westview, Tennessee today with Coach Willie Trevathan and Coach Trevathan Haskins. And most of y'all know, I know him as Buck and Willie, but y'all can call him Coach Haskins and Coach Trevathan. So guys, thanks for coming on with us today. I know I'm getting geared up for the season. When do y'all get to start official practice?
November 3rd. Yeah, November 3rd.
All right, so that's about the time this is going to drop. So y'all are starting today.
Good.
As we'll edit this around, but these two guys, again, I know a lot of our listeners are probably going to be interested in their seasons and what's coming up for Westview basketball. For me, it's a little different today. Coach Haskins was my roommate in college. We met back in 1994. And 95, I guess, is 95. I don't want to date us too much. Let's get a year back. Yeah. 1995, and after that first year, I first met him, didn't really think that much of him. He didn't shoot very good the first day, which I was like, told my dad, I was like, this guy ain't much. Turned out to be a pretty humbling experience for me, but so we got to room together, and then Willie, we started coaching the same year. He was at Greenfield, I was at Bradford, and he's another guy I consider a really close friend. I know at one point in time, going through some things, I think I slept on your couch a few times over the.
That's a story for another podcast.
Yeah, that's for a different event. If you've seen the first one, there's a lot of stories that won't make it onto the actual film. But coming into this season, I'm going to start with the girls. And I'm just going to be blunt. First time since I've known you here where I hadn't had you picked to win the state championship.
Well, we're just going to be – we lost a lot. I mean, we lost I think we really last year had 6 starters, to be honest with you, that could start. And so 5 of those were seniors, and we kind of knew it going into it. We've got some really good players. They're just going to have to do it. I mean, it's the deal in the past where you kind of gotten to know them as their freshman and sophomore years, and now those kids didn't get those opportunities because we were kind of a little bit heavier on the –
now people get to find out, right?
Yeah, and we had a better summer than what I probably thought we would. They worked really hard this preseason, and they've gotten stronger and they've gotten faster. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It is a year that you go into games that there's going to be some games on our schedule that you're like in the past that you weren't worried about, but this year, I mean, it will be. But I think there's been a fun group to be around. It has been that, so and they work hard. That's really all
making a big trip somewhere.
Yeah, we're going to go. Actually, they're going with us this year.
We're going to you along, man.
We're going to go to Gatlinburg, and we've been there one time. This is my 12th year here, and we've been there once, and we loved it. It really it was good. I think it's going to be a good environment to be in, and it's a little bit more of a high school feel,
right,
as opposed to when you go to Phoenix and Hilton Head. When Willie and then went to Hilton Head with us also. So we're looking forward to that trip also.
And the boys' side, now I don't know. My sources tell me we're looking at a big jump. Had a great year last year, and looking like it may be even better this year. Is it?
Well, I think this is my 4th year here, and anytime you go to a new program, it's kind of a stair-step situation. And we've had had a pretty good year last year, and grew up in a lot of ways. And I feel like we've done it a little bit every year. We've started a lot of freshmen and sophomores over the last couple of years who are now juniors and seniors. They're kids with some experience coming back. So, we hope to build on some of that experience, and we've still got some humps to get over.
Right.
We've had some. We haven't been able to get past that region semifinal game.
That was a heck of a game last year. It was tough.
It
was. Had a lot of opportunities. It was
It was a tough one, and one that kind of, we still have that taste in our mouth a little bit. So
let me ask you something. As a coach, that's not always a bad thing to have that taste, is it? It's a little motivating.
Well, you hope it stays in the kids' mouth.
Yeah,
right. You want them to remember that as much as any. But we are kind of leaning on some guys and some leadership roles this year. They're upperclassmen. They're not underclassmen. So. You hope that can carry you there.
Right. On the girls' side, who's, we're in the region. I know who you're looking at. Who's?
I think up here, Union City came up. They've got the bulk of their team back. They lost one kid. They're going to be really good. They've got a couple of really good individual players. And Gibson County still Gibson County. And I think those two and hopefully us will be in the mix for it and whatnot. But I think one of the hardest things for our kids to kind of get over, it's kind of like, y'all just alluded to a second ago, was, you're trying to get over that hump. Well, when we do walk in a gym, and it's here before I got here, we've been fortunate enough to keep it going and, open some new doors and whatnot. But, we're kind of I won't say the standard, but it's one that people look at and they eye a lot. And so it'll be interesting to see how we handle that. I mean, I think in the past you saw it, but a lot of times you go, and you go into games and it's what your name is and they think you're going to get beat.
Right.
And I think this year, they'll see the name and probably say, hey, we got a chance. Let's go get them. And
You're going to get everybody's best shot.
yeah, you'll get everybody's best shot. And, so it'll be interesting to see. I think the region's going to be good. I think, you got a couple teams down there. Adamsville should be very good.
Adamsville returned everybody.
And Riverside returned a lot.
They jumped, though.
Oh, they jumped. They went across.
They went across the river, so
we don't have to worry about Riverside. So,
Yeah.
But Adamsville is going to be good, and
They are.
JCM's going to be good. I mean, they're going to be athletic, and so it's going to be a tough one. And I don't think anyone wants to go to Memphis Business. I mean, Memphis Business is. I heard they got a kid that moved in, and they were really good last year, and they took York down the wire in the first round at the state tournament. So I don't think anyone up here wants to go there. So that region should be interesting.
Boys side, I know JCM should be good again.
Well, as usual, there will be a lot of very formidable teams out there that will have to be dealt with. You mentioned JCM. Liberty's had some transfers in that should help them.
Help their
Ripley will be
program.
good again. Peabody will be good again. We got Union City back in our district. So I would say that there's a lot up in the air just coming out of this region alone. Then you got to get through Memphis. Whoever is able to come out of this region's got to fight a way through Memphis. So
That is on the boys side.
that's
That's always been girls too. Again, I don't want to discredit Memphis girls, but on the boys side, it's a gauntlet when you get. I know a few years ago, of course, at Scottsdale, they had a really good boys team. You get to the region, and you're looking at 6'5", 6'6", and can play, and you're just like, it's a little different than what we've been going against all year. But so definitely a gauntlet there. You two guys, both of you guys, going back a few years, both of y'all spent time at UT Martin. What kind of tell me a little bit about the difference between that lifestyle and high school coaching? What is because I know you're like Willie's like me. He's a family man here. Bucky is too. Bucky's kids are about grown. Me and Willie still got. we
kind of starting over.
We kind of started again. Got these littles going. So kind of. What's that transition like? What's the?
There's no question the high school environment and atmosphere is much better for someone with a family and young kids at home. You're not on the road nearly as much. I would say the biggest difference is the after-hour schedule for a college coach. Your recruiting doesn't happen from between 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock for the most part. Recruiting aspect of things happens at night, on the weekends, things of that nature, phone calls you got to make. So, in addition to being on the road, you have to spend after hours time, and sometimes your daily hours may not be quite as rigorous as here at high school, where you're coming to teach in school all day and then going to practice. So mainly two different schedules as much as anything was my experience. And I'll be interested to see what
and you were there during COVID a little bit too, weren't you? Wasn't that during
one year
COVID?
right after COVID, yeah.
And I mean, it is. You're kind of offset. You're on a different schedule than And we used to say all the time, "Hey, don't come in today. Don't come in and work." But your kids were at school, so what are you going to do? And your wife's at work, so you're thinking, "Well, I'm just going to sit at home, not do anything." So you end up going. Then when they get off work, when they get out of school, and you go do something, like you said, that's when the phone calls have to be made to the recruits and whatnot. And that's just probably the biggest difference that I mean, it's basketball is basketball. I mean, really wherever you're at. And so I don't think it's a whole lot of difference as far as that goes. The work schedules and you don't really see. And I've lived here. This is my 20th year being in Martin. When I worked out there, I didn't see a lot of the Westview people. And when you work here, you don't really see much of the UTM people. And it's odd. It's just an odd combination.
It's a pretty small town.
It's a small town, but you'll go to a restaurant, you won't know anybody here. I mean, and I guess they're working out there. I don't really, you don't know who's here and who's not. So as far as that goes, that's probably, I'd say, the biggest difference also.
Well, one of the things when we get together on these podcasts that I like to do is just kind of tell stories. That's my favorite part of it, more so than the information. That's great for the fans. For me, it's if you go to our website, there's a lot of remembering stuff on there. Working on a piece that'll be coming out next week on 1992, which was Tony Delk, Steve Hamer, Stanley Caldwell. You had Corey Johnson and Charles Duncan in the junior class. You had Reginald Crisp and Albert Bond, Kurt Gehring, all of those guys. We sent 5 players to the SEC coming out of that time period. Of course, Camden had Stephen Vick, who was obviously the best player that come through Camden that I can remember. Him and Shane Morris both were.
Haskins is in the top 20.
Maybe top 20, out of the Camden area. So, but playing with Haskins, I don't like to brag on him too much, but he's one of the better players, honestly, better players that I've played with. But I just remember we're playing at Ball State, playing a game there, and I'm having the game of my life. I'm 5 for 5 from 3, rolling.
Can't believe he remembers that.
Yeah. I'm not going to forget going 5 for 5. It didn't happen a lot. So I'm on fire. We get a timeout. We're down 2. And there's a lot of debate, but my memory is really good on these things of what actually went on in this timeout. But there was a play drawn up for me. Get the game winner, and I'm coming off of a pin down into the corner, wide open, the ball swinging, and Haskins catches it. And this is my time with him. He shoots a 25-footer with 2 people on him, but he makes it. He steals my glory, gets mobbed. They're all mobbing him. I'm just standing there in the corner, wide open, 5 for 5. But that's kind of my memory of playing ball with him was he would look me off, but then he'd make it, and it was just kind of like, what do you say to him? And then of course Willie, my memories of Willie was really when I got to Bradford. So
I don't know if I knew y'all were there at the same time as far as Bradford and Greenfield.
Yeah, we're just down the road.
Yeah.
And,
Played a lot of pickup basketball together.
That's what I was going to say. We played pickup games probably 2 times a week, maybe 3 some weeks during the off season. And we pretty much played year round. The whole key to a pickup game at Bradford in those days was to get on Willie and Coach Allen's team, because Coach Allen was going to foul you.
Yes, I can vouch for that.
And Willie was going to play the game like it was a national championship game and a pickup game, and you just didn't want to be going against that guy. And I'm like, look, man, I'm here to shoot a bunch of shots, and you're out here guarding the snot out of me. What is going on? But we got to be pretty good friends over those years, and really enjoyed that time. I don't know, again, both of you guys, to me, y'all both have carried yourselves in such a professional manner from day one. You're probably nervous having to go on a podcast with me because that's not been my MO from day one. I know you had to come get some film from Bradford.
Mm-hmm.
And
you want me to tell that story?
You can tell that story.
Yeah, that's a good one. I got to Bradford and I went in the office and looking for Coach Hampton. They said, hey, wait, he's down in the gym. Go right down there. I said, okay. So I head down to the gym, walk in, all the lights are off. And I'm looking around and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And I look over on the bleachers and these kids are laid out on the bleachers asleep. And everybody is stretched out, nice and neat on the bleachers.
It's organized.
Asleep. And so I'm looking around kind of thinking, what in the world's going on? And this one girl raised her head and I said, I'm looking for Coach Hampton. She kind of pointed up the bleachers, and right out of the middle of the crowd, he raised up off the bleacher. He was asleep too. So everybody is everybody in class is asleep. So I was like, Hampton, what are you doing here? He said, I'm was you teaching a lesson on sleep studies.
Sleep study. I was ahead of my time. I was ahead of my innovative teaching.
So they were all taking a nap in the middle of class.
Yeah, so it was those days. Of course, Dale Burns was our boss. He made it into our first podcast. And working for Dale Burns to this day was probably the best experience I ever had, but probably the worst thing could have happened for me as a young teacher, because Dale gave me a lot of rope that probably didn't need there. You also, of course, was at Greenfield earlier today. Don Durden.
Mm-hmm.
Got to talk about Don. If you would, before I get off here, give me a Don Durden story. Oh, if we can get a Don Durden story on here.
Oh, yeah, I've got some good ones on him. Probably the best one was I was in my first year at Greenfield. I was, right out of college, young, and I was coaching the middle school boys over there.
Right, I remember that.
And he and Coach Glisson, they stayed with me and they were around to help. I was, I guess, the coach, but they were guiding me. And we were playing over Gibson County. We were playing in a summer camp, and we had blown a lead in a game. We end up losing the game. The game's over. I tell the boys, go up top up there by the concession stand at Gibson County, start running until I get there. And I stood downstairs, down on the floor, and talked to the other coach. I don't remember who it was, but we talked for a few minutes. And I get up top, and those boys are all leaned up on that wall drinking water. They're not running like I told them to. So, what in the world? Who told y'all to quit running? And Coach Durden said, I did. And I said, well, why? He said, if anybody ought to be running, it's you. You lost that game. That was my first good lesson in coaching from Coach Durden, was that I needed to really look deep into why a game was lost sometimes. Instead of blaming the kids, figure out what I should have done better.
Well, no, I'm gonna get Haskins with a guy too. Got out of college, took a job at Perry County.
Mm-hmm.
I was still at Bradford when y'all started there, and pretty early on in that, some stuff came up. I left Bradford. Y'all helped me get on as the boys coach, or assistant boys middle school coach, assistant high school. So we were working together there in Perry County. And while I was there, Dave Rhodes was our superintendent, and Dave was one of the more interesting characters that I've ever worked for. He's one of the few bosses I've had that has absolutely chewed me out, but also would do anything to help us with the basketball program. If you got a Dave Rhodes story you would share with us.
I don't know about a story. I mean, it's just, I learned a lot from him. I was there for 4 years, and I think one thing about Dave I thought was he was very passionate about that. Very, very passionate. I mean, he kind of, I wouldn't say built it, but he kind of, Albert Ellison, all those guys kind of built it when they won those 3 non-classes back in the mid-50s. But then he kind of got it going again in the 70s, late 70s, and won those 2 state championships. And it was just everything. He played baseball at Ole Miss. But the thing about him was very passionate just about that program in general. But a lot of people didn't, the past coaches really didn't want to involve him. And Eric, you were there. I mean, he was a wealth of knowledge as far as basketball goes.
He was.
And so I took a different approach. I took the approach of, no, I want you around. I don't care if you come sit in practice. Matter of fact, come watch practice. I didn't have any experience. I was an assistant for 2 years at Lambeth before I got there. But as far as calling the timeouts and, being in that seat, it was different. I mean, I think everybody knows that. But he was around, and he got to be a good friend of mine, and it was one of the hardest decisions I've had to make in my life was when I took the job here. And it was a family decision because Emily was working in Camden. We were living in Parsons, right beside you.
Right.
And we were both driving 20 minutes, so she was driving 30, I was driving 20, and I never saw Taylor. And he was a baby at that time, and that was the biggest thing for me. I got an opportunity to get us all in the same town, to come to a good school and a good town to live in, and Emily could work here, and we're all here, and that was the biggest thing. But it was hard going to that. I'll never forget it. I remember walking. He was sick, he had cancer, and I walked in his house one afternoon and told him I was thinking about leaving. Told me what his thoughts, and he supported. I'm not saying it was a good situation, but he did support it, and I learned a lot from him in those 2 years, or those 4 years I was there. There's no question.
No, he was as a basketball coach. He was great to work for. He's a great man too.
Yes.
Just
yeah.
period.
And he was very, and he was superintendent down there for a long time, and in a small school district. And Willie, you've been around them. We've all been around them. We've all worked in them and whatnot. And when you got one high school, it's a lot of politics, and he was able to keep all that balanced and everything. It run pretty smooth.
He was my personal favorite Dave Rhodes stories. I was down with David Lee, one of our good friends. He was coaching the girls at the time, and I was had walked down at lunch. I was at the elementary school, had walked down, they're connected. And was doing something with some kids. David Lee had me working with some kids. Dave was in the gym. And I was like, I got to go. I've got a class up here. And Dave got on my hip as I was walking over. He goes, where are you going? And I was like, I've got class up here. He goes, no, you don't. And he walked me up the hill to the principal's office, said, I don't know what he's doing, but get somebody to cover it from now on during this time. He'll be back when practice is over. And and my principal's sitting there, and it's the superintendent telling me, this guy's, he's going to be down here during this time.
And just got another planning.
Yeah, I've just got an extra planning period. So that's always my Dave Rhodes. One of the things I remember about him. He was just, but he's also, like I said, though, one of my few bosses that has truly lit into me. One time I didn't have the gym clean. And
that gym better be clean, yeah.
He walked in, and the gym was not clean, and it all fell on me, and he let me have it pretty good.
I was very fortunate. I played for Coach Greer too in high school in Camden. He was kind of a gym cleanness guy too. So, and when I came here, it really wasn't clean all the time. And that was one thing that I think even to this day we still pick up. Willie does too, because he does the gym floors and all that. But you walk in a gym and you can almost tell who's successful by how clean it is and how neat it is. And you get a gym it's all junky and all that, it's probably not going to be a good situation.
You're still working on the floors. Still
doing
doing that. You tied with Terry Clement and that whole
Yeah, we're partners.
Partner. All right. So y'all just did our floor then. Somebody did. That was
well, it's Terry and Tommy Separulo and me and Jeremy Qualls. Yeah, we're all in together.
All in it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Steve Forsythe's with us now too. So we've all come together.
How's that been? Is that some just a different aspect of the game? But I'll let you plug your floor business. Look, I'm gonna plug the grind. I can barely stay awake over here. Me and Buddy ate at the grind while ago. So
the grind's good.
Yeah, we're stuff. So
no, it's fun. It's kind of it's one of those things. To me, it's sort of what kicks off basketball season every year. And we do some work in the summer, but our big push is always this time of year during fall break time. But you start doing those floors, you start smelling that smell of floor finish, and it's sort of just kind of the indicator that it's time to start playing basketball.
There's nothing like the old gym at Scotts Hill. After fall break, one of y'all's crews comes in, does our floor, and I walk in there. My dad's name's on that court. It's a special place to me. But when that smell hits you, when you walk in there and you smell that smell and it's all shiny, it's just like it's
time.
It's here. It's time. And we're at about that time. It's again, about 2 weeks we'll be tipping off, and I can't wait to cover stuff this year. It's a whole different. Told Haskins a while ago. My son's here with me today. He's got on a bunch of red. He goes, "So wearing that red Lexington?" I was like, "We're everybody's fan now." Covering West Tennessee, we're going to be rooting for everybody.
I think it's pretty cool what you're doing. You mentioned to us or to me. I know we were talking the other day about the old days when you looked forward to waking up and looking in the Jackson Sun to see those box scores, and see who won, because back then there was no internet, there was no way of finding out who won a particular game. So it was so much fun to open that paper and then you get to read your own name or read how many points some of your friends at other schools may have scored, things like that. That was always a big deal, and anybody who grew up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even 2000, early 2000s, that was still going on. And I think, the internet changed that a little bit, but just everything's changed a little bit. That's not where everybody goes anymore for all those things. So what you're doing, kicking that back up and everybody getting to go and check out some stuff, it's going to be a lot of fun for everybody.
I think I know I do. My parents do, I'm sure, but I think probably everybody in that area you were talking about, there's probably a book somewhere in their house that have those clippings, that's still there. I don't know if we can read them anymore, but they're still there.
When I was digging around, that kind of triggered this whole idea, looking at that, it's going to be different, obviously, but the page that we're dedicating to the body, it looks like an old newspaper page. Yeah. It's going to be done in the same style. And so far as we've been trying to start to push this out, and the folks 40 and over have loved it. That's probably going to end up being our biggest audience. I want everybody to enjoy it. And I get kids now, they have so much social media. They have their own presence. You know, they don't need a newspaper to promote them. They've got Instagram and all these other things, and it's amazing what they can do. But for us older folks to go back and see the actual, and I'm going to say this though, even for the younger kids or younger adults, you can find the scores anywhere. There's a plethora of places you can go get the scores that night. A few hours after the game, I could name multiple sources, which I hope to be a friend with those sources as we go to work with those. But nowhere could you find the scoring, the box scores.
That's right.
It's vanished. So that's really what we're going to do a lot of fun stuff on the page. We've got the coaches blog, which is a behind the scenes look at some stuff a coach went through one time. It's an interesting read. The back in '82 stuff, a little nod to Uncle Rico, but covering stuff like Albert Ellison. There's a piece on him up already. The '92 class, just different things like that. And then we are going to do some feature pieces on present day kids. We've got a piece up on Luke Gore, and then we got a couple of local kids coming up that will kick us off with some feature pieces that people go read about, kind of see what they're doing. But it's going to be a lot of. I've had fun covering it. So if this bombs, if it absolutely flops, I'm out just a little bit, and we'll shut it down. If it takes off, man, hopefully we'll be covering sports for. I was telling Haskins, this is low budget right now. Noah Smith was supposed to come, try to get him to come help me. He's going to try to upgrade our podcast a little bit, but we're shooting this on an iPhone 4 right now. So I'm hoping this is something in 4 or 5 years I'll look back and be like, man, look at this podcast, man. This is a low budget, but hopefully good content is what we're going to try to bring. So, but anyway, man, I appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you for
both
doing
of
it.
y'all for coming on and taking care of this, and good luck to y'all this season. Can't wait to see how the Chargers do. All right, thanks guys.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, buddy.